Okay, so here we are, Act 2, Scene 3. Make sure that you have your scene guide up. We're at Friar Lawrence's cell. Now, a cell is not like a jail cell. It's a old-time way of saying an apartment. So he lives in an apartment within the church because he's a friar, which is like a priest. So he would just stay at the church all the time. And Romeo's going to visit him because Romeo wants to marry Juliet and he needs someone to marry them. So here comes Friar Lawrence. Friar Lawrence enters by himself carrying a basket. And he says, "The smiling morning is replacing the frowning night. Darkness is stumbling out of the sun's path like a drunk man. Now, before the sun comes up and burns away the dew, I have to fill this basket of mine with poisonous weeds and medicinal flowers. The earth is nature's mother and also nature's tomb. Plants are born out of the earth, and they are buried in the earth when they die. From the earth's womb, many different sorts of plants and animals come forth, and the earth provides her children with many excellent forms of nourishment. Everything nature creates has some special property, and each one is different. Herbs, plants, and stones possess great power. There is nothing on earth that is so evil that it does not provide the earth with some special quality. And there is nothing that does not turn bad if it's put in the wrong use and abused. Virtue turns to vice if it's misused. Vice sometimes becomes virtue through the right activity." So, Friar Lawrence, couple things we learn about him. So let's go over to the scene guide. So scene 3, your characters, they're just going to be Friar Lawrence and Romeo. Put a comma in there for you. And then action. So at start of scene, FL, Friar Lawrence, is talking about ways plants can be used for medicine or poison. And this, I'm going to put in parentheses, is a foreshadow of something that's going to come later. So right now it just sounds like some crazy old man rambling on about plants, but later on it's actually going to be very important. Romeo comes in. Friar Lawrence continues saying, "Inside the little rind of this weak flower there is both poison and powerful medicine. If you smell it, you feel good all over your body, but if you taste it, you die. There are two opposite elements in everything, in men as well as herbs, good and evil." So there you go. He's saying everything has a good side and a bad side. You just have to know how to use it so that you don't abuse it. He finishes off his speech by saying, "When evil is dominant, death soon kills the body like cancer." Romeo pipes up and he goes, "Good morning, Father." Father because he's a priest, all right? So in the Catholic religion, people call priests father. He's not his actual father. Friar Lawrence says, "God bless you. Who greets me so early in the morning? Young man, something's wrong if you're getting out of bed this early. Every old man has worries, and worried men never get any sleep. But young men shouldn't have a care in the world. They should get to bed early and get plenty of sleep. Therefore, the fact that you're awake this early tells me you've been upset with some anxiety. If that's not the case, then this must be the answer. You, Romeo, have not been to bed tonight." "Oh, your last guess is right. I enjoyed a sweeter rest than sleep. Oh, may God forgive you if you have sinned. Were you with Rosaline?" So there you go. The friar knows about Rosaline, which makes sense because the friar and Romeo are actually friends. So it makes sense that Romeo would be going to him and complaining about this girl Rosaline and how she doesn't love him and blah, blah, blah. So the friar's like, "Oh no, were you with Rosaline?" And Romeo goes, "With Rosaline, father? No. I have forgotten that girl and all the sadness she brought me." Yeah, literally 12 hours ago, because the party was just last night. So literally 12 hours ago, he was still crying over Rosaline. "Well, that's good, my boy. But where have you been?" "Oh, I'll tell you before you have to ask me again. I have been feasting with my enemy. Suddenly someone wounded me with love, and was wounded with love by me. You have the sacred power to cure both of us. I carry no hatred, holy man, because my request will benefit my enemy." So, he's talking in riddles, but he's saying, I fell in love with someone, she fell in love with me, you need to help me out. Friar Lawrence says, "Speak plainly, make your meaning clear, my son. A jumbled confession can only receive a jumbled absolution." "Well, I love rich Capulet's daughter. I love her, and she loves me. We're bound to each other in every possible way, except we need you to marry us. I'll tell you more, I'll tell you more later about when and where we met, how we fell in love, and how we exchanged promises. But now I'm begging you, please, agree to marry us today." And Friar Lawrence is like, I'm not so sure. He says, "Holy St. Francis, this is a drastic change. Have you given up so quickly on Rosaline, whom you loved so much?" "Then young men love with their eyes and not with their hearts. Jesus and Mary, how many tears did you cry for Rosaline? How many salty teardrops did you waste salting a love you never tasted? The sun hasn't yet melted away the fog you made with all your sighs. The groans you used to make are still ringing in my old ears. There's still a stain on your cheek from an old tear that hasn't been washed off yet. If you were ever yourself and this sadness was yours, you and your sadness were all for Rosaline. And now you've changed? Then repeat this after me. You can't expect women to be faithful when men are so unreliable." So Friar Lawrence, good for him, he's calling Romeo out. And he's like, "Dude, what do you mean you're over Rosaline? You were crying about her literally yesterday. You have a tear stain on your cheek still from crying over her." So, does Friar Lawrence believe that Romeo really loves Juliet? No, he's no fool. So Friar Lawrence accuses Romeo of moving on too quickly from Rosaline and says he never loved her and he doesn't love Juliet. Let me be specific. Romeo just thinks they're both beautiful. And the friar's not wrong. And Romeo, he's kind of mad. He says, you scold me often for loving Rosaline. Well, I scolded you for obsessing about her, not for loving her, my student. Well, you told me to bury my love. So Romeo's kind of throwing it back at Friar Lawrence, saying, you should be happy. You told me to do all this. Friar Lawrence says, I didn't tell you to get rid of one love and replace her with another. Oh, please, I beg you, don't scold me. The girl I love now returns my love. The other girl did not love me. She knew very well that you were acting like you were in love without really knowing what love means. But come on, inconsistent young man, come with me. I'll help you with your secret wedding. This marriage may be lucky enough to turn the hatred between your families into pure love. So that right there, Friar Lawrence, who knows that Romeo does not really love Juliet, knows that he also didn't really love Rosaline, he says, you know what? Fine. I'll do it. I'll marry you. And this is his reason. This marriage may be lucky enough to turn the hatred between your families into pure love. So that's the friar's motivation. He's not marrying them because he thinks they love each other. He's marrying them because he's hoping it will end the family's fighting. So FL agrees to marry R and J, not because he believes they love each other, but because he hopes it will stop the families, IES apostrophe, fighting. So he's doing it for his own selfish reasons. Now, granted, if the family stopped fighting, that would be great for the city and for Verona. And then, the Capulets and Montagues wouldn't get in trouble next time there was a fight because there'd be no fight. Romeo's ecstatic and he says, let's get out of here. I'm in a rush. Oh, go wisely and slowly. Those who rush stumble and fall. And they exit. So Friar Lawrence, very wise man, his last advice to Romeo is, buddy, I think you need to slow down a bit. You're going to regret it if you move too fast. And it's kind of like, well, already too late for that, Friar Lawrence. Okay, moving on. Next scene, Act 2, Scene 4.